Good afternoon. This is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com, and today is Tuesday, February 19th. Really nice Tuesday. Today was kind of like a Monday because the market was closed yesterday for President's Day, and it was nice to have a 3-day weekend. I looked at charts briefly on Saturday. That's it. That's all that I looked at it. I really did a nice job of staying away from the market for a couple of days and just giving my brain a clear break and a clear, nice head to come back today fresh, relaxed, ready to go. And that's exactly what I did. As it turns out, there really wasn't a lot to look at today. No, correction. There was a lot to look at today, but there wasn't a lot of good stuff. All right. So the bottom line is there was stuff to do today, and the only thing that I liked, the only thing that rated well in my 26-point rating system was this. It was Yndx. And by the way, it's the only thing that worked right. So this rated 20 points. I liked it, and I knew that it was going to work. However, with the placement of the gap where it was opening, I knew that anything could happen, meaning it could have opened and dropped hard first, or it could have rallied up first. Now, as it turns out, it did end up going up first. We'll go over that play in a minute. But the stock itself had a dramatic fall in the first move, which you wouldn't have known just looking at this bar the way it played out. I'll show you on the 1-minute chart. Was a nice gap. Had a nice call in as well, and I'll go over that too. First bar of the day on the 15-minute chart here. Look at this thing. Look at that. That you can tell that is being traded by machines. You can tell that is being traded by computers. No person would make a bar drop like that, almost $2, like $1 something, $1.30, $1.40. I don't know what it was. It was a big drop. We'll look at it in a minute on the 1 minute, and then flip up and go over the high of the day and then come back down in. That type of action. Look at the body. In fact, the body in this is actually, the open is 23.61. The close is 23.56. This is a 5-cent body. And look at the size of the tail from tip to toe. The top is 24.09. The bottom is 22.12. Yeah, so it's $2. A $2 range here in a 15-minute bar, and the body is 5 cents. That's machines. But that's fine. You know, we trade as day traders, as regular traders, as traders of any kind. You've got to be prepared to trade with machines. Now, I like to stay away from stuff that's so traded by machines that you can't play it. But that wasn't the case with this. It actually set up nicely in the morning. We'll look at it here. Let's go over to the 1 minute. So this did not make it back down to the low of the day. That's fine. I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't going to at a certain point, but I was out of this whole thing, my morning trade, because I don't really like to trade the afternoon anyways. I typically don't. So it opened hard and did this. Look, right there it is. $1 something right there. Boom, it did it. And do you know what? This is a swoosh. There's no way getting around this. However, the interesting thing was it was concerning the move that it made, that it really went to the pre-market low, which is 22.10. It got there within 2 cents. So I kind of said, geez, you know, is this done for the day now in one bar, even though it did swoosh? You never know for sure. Because look, the target, well, the first target was here, which wasn't enough by the time it opened and got running. Second target was here, the break of 85. And then you had to say down in here 22.50, but really 22, 25, and 22. I wanted to see this bigger target here. This is still a short. This is actually still a short down here to this 2170-ish, 2160-ish. It's still a short down in there. This is a continuation watch for tomorrow, actually. So can't do the first setup in here. Can't do it. Why? First of all, the stop's too big. I don't like the risk to reward. I won't do it. Second of all, this thing has a drop like this, boom, down like that. You cannot take the first setup after it pushes up and if it goes over the high of the day. You can't do it. You have to wait. Wait for confirmation. Wait for what? Confirmation that the stock is just doing a correction here after it has a crazy move like this from one big solid bar. So it bounced. The only reason I even did this and felt the conviction it would go lower is 1, the gap rated well enough to do. 2, as soon as it did this, it went right back down. So it went over the high of the day, but it did it in a pop. Pop, hold, go. So the fact is, if this had been a rally, I probably would have never even done it. All right, this wasn't a rally. It was a pop over the high of the day in one green bar that did it in one fluid solid motion and then slammed right back down on it in the second motion and right back down on it again in the next motion. And in fact, this motion that happened here was bigger than the pop, so I liked it. It corrected itself immediately. It went boom, zoom. And that's really what we see in the tail in the 15-minute. All right? I really didn't want it to get over 24. I really didn't want it to get over the high of the day, but I see what was happening here in the trading action, so I kept the conviction. Still not in the trade yet. Take it in the base. Took it in the base, but the stop over here. The next break was the 5-minute setup and really needed to see the break of 20. But I was in it way before then. I was in it in the space, stop over here. This was spready. It was between a 6 cents and 10 cent spread in the morning, but that's all right. It had enough volume in it to do it. It was fine. So then there was an ad here on the 5. To be aggressive, you could have taken more before the ad. I didn't play aggressive this morning because it basically was a Monday morning, and the only thing I liked was this. So you could have added here under 26, but the real break, the confirmation of the break was the break in here of 20, and then it just went and never backed up. So you could have been out of this whole trade, actually, as soon as it broke under 23 and didn't rock and roll. But I knew once it broke 85 that that was a pivotal number, which I'll go back and show you in a minute. And once it did that here, it did it in this part right here and did the 10:30 time, then it just ran. So real target was low of the day, but never got there. So at some point, you had to take money out. If you're in the trade that I took in the entry, which was beautiful, it was the best entry on it, you're either out the whole thing in here if it doesn't break 60, or you're carrying it down here, monitoring the 5, and you got to be out if it doesn't break 50, or you're taking it out in here. I mean, if you can even stomach to getting it down in here, good for you, because the entry was so good we had in here. And this is basically $1. This was $1 in here. All right. And remember, when stuff doesn't break new lows, it's going to flip. It can flip for a rally and reset itself up, but it might be done. You never know. And it's getting late here. It's around 11:30. This was a long time for me to be in this trade. Geez, I was in this trade for a long time waiting for it. I didn't like anything else. And I actually had a lot of conviction in it to go, and I never did anything wrong. Never did anything wrong. Never did anything wrong at all, so I was fine with it. And quite frankly, every time I tried to go higher in here, couldn't. Every time I tried to go higher in here, couldn't. Every time I tried to go higher in here, couldn't, which made me know that this was the finito on this. It was done. It wasn't going higher. And the market was rallying at one point in the morning. This thing wasn't. So it didn't do anything wrong. It was a great play. It was a great call. I just nailed it. I mean, honestly, nothing else worked today. And my instinct told me nothing else wasn't going to work right today. So this is the only thing I watched and played. So this is Melissa with thestockswoosh.com. If you're interested in learning how to trade these gaps, my next gap class is going to be in March. Contact me for the dates. And if you are interested in actually getting these calls live, then contact me about signing up for my trading room, because I call these plays live in my trading room for the entries and the exits, and you've got to be there to get them. And I'm extremely good at calling these entries and finding these gaps. And I do it based on my 26-point rating system, which is the class that I teach. And in my class, I teach the entries and the exits too. So it's a great way to learn how to trade gaps with a specification, because on a day like today, this is a perfect example. Tons of stuff was gapping and nothing was good but this. So what do? You know, if you don't have a system like I have where I'm rating the gap based on a 26-point rating system, you're not going to make money. In fact, I'm sure it was very difficult for people to make solid money today. Clean, solid money. This was a clean play, a solid gap. Take it, make money, book it, goes. It never did anything wrong. We had to wait a little bit, but that's not a big deal. Sometimes you have to be patient. Remember, it was like a Monday morning. Nice, clean play in here. And this is a perfect example and a perfect reason to join my Stock Swoosh trading room. So give me a call if you are interested, or an email in my class or the room. My email is melissa@thestockswoosh.com. This is Yndx. This is Play of the Day. And if you're interested, contact me. Thanks, and have a great day, everybody.